Fogbound Magic, Sophia and Mr. Bean's Quest. On a misty morning, Sophia wandered deeper into the forest than ever before. The fog was thick, curling around the trees like spectral fingers. As she walked, she noticed a flickering light in the distance and moved toward it. Soon she stumbled upon an ancient stone archway, half hidden by vines and mist. Curiosity piqued, Sophia stepped through the archway and into a mystical realm where the air shimmered with magic. The trees seemed alive, their leaves whispering secrets. Suddenly, a strange noise broke the eerie silence, a honking horn followed by a crash. Rushing toward the sound, Sophia found a man with a tweed jacket and a red tie tangled in the branches of a particularly grumpy-looking tree. It was none other than Mr. Bean. He had somehow ended up in this magical forest, and his tiny green car, now stuck in the mud, was the source of the crash. Sophia helped Mr. Bean untangle himself from the branches. As soon as he was free, he looked around with his usual mix of confusion and curiosity. Sophia introduced herself and asked how he had ended up there. Mr. Bean shrugged and pulled out a small, glowing stone from his pocket. "I found this and followed it," he explained, his voice unusually serious for a moment. Sophia examined the stone, recognizing it as a magical artifact she had read about in an old book. It was said to lead its holder to whatever they desired most. Just then, the stone began to glow brighter, pulling them both towards a hidden path. Together, they followed the path, which led them to a magnificent castle made of crystal and silver. The castle shimmered in the fog, its towers reaching up to the sky. As they approached, the gates swung open, revealing a grand hall filled with fantastical creatures, talking animals, fairies, and even a dragon lounging by the fireplace. At the center of the hall stood a regal figure, the queen of the enchanted forest. She welcomed Sophia and Mr. Bean, explaining that the stone had brought them to her because they were needed, to break a curse that had been cast upon the land. The fog that enveloped the forest was part of the curse, trapping its inhabitants and draining their magic. Sophia and Mr. Bean listened attentively as the queen described the task ahead. They had to find the source of the curse, a dark sorcerer hiding in the heart of the forest, and defeat him to lift the fog. The queen handed Sophia a shimmering sword and Mr. Bean a magical map that would guide them. They faced mischievous sprites, tricky puzzles, and enchanted creatures that tested their bravery and wit. Mr. Bean's clumsiness often led to humorous situations, but his good heart and Sophia's determination saw them through each trial. Finally, they reached the sorcerer's lair, a dark, twisted tower surrounded by swirling fog. With courage and cleverness, Sophia and Mr. Bean confronted the sorcerer. Using the magical stone and the sword, they managed to break his dark spells and defeat him. As the sorcerer fell, the fog began to lift, and sunlight poured into the forest, bringing life and color back to the enchanted realm. The queen and her subjects rejoiced, thanking Sophia and Mr. Bean for their bravery. With the curse broken, the magical stone glowed one last time, creating a portal to take Sophia and Mr. Bean back home. They stepped through, finding themselves back in the familiar forest, the stone archway now just a simple ruin. Sophia and Mr. Bean shared a smile, knowing they would never forget their incredible adventure in the enchanted forest. And from that day on, the misty mornings in the village always seemed a little more magical.